Hersam Acorn newspapers, publishers of the Greenwich Post, New Canaan Advertiser, the Darien Times, the Ridgefield Press, the Weston Forum, the Wilton Bulletin, the Reading Pilot, the Lewisboro Ledger, the Monroe Courier, the Eastern Courier, the Trumbull Times, Fairfield Sun, Shelton Herald, the Stratford Star, the Milford Mirror, and the Valley Gazette.
Hersam, Acorn, and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
This is your coffee break on HANradio.com.
It's Wednesday, May 6th, and along with John Kovach and Rob Adams, I'm Josh Fisher. Kate Czaplinski is off celebrating 6 de Mayo.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Wasn't the holiday yesterday?
Well, you know, she says every day's a holiday.
I mean, is there a Cinco de Mayo Eve? Or is it, it's like, this must be like the Boxing Day equivalent of Cinco de Mayo.
Everyone has a Cinco de Mayo. It's just May 5th, John. It's like the 4th of July.
Every year?
Every year. Among our top stories today, a man was arrested for making threats at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Monroe, and Joe Ganim wants to be mayor again. Also, an FCX football coach was charged with DUI recently. We'll also be welcoming in Jim Cameron, who has a new weekly feature on Connecticut commuting, and we're going to talk about the Mother's Day movement later today. But first, let's take a check at the roads and the weather, John.
Josh, major closure in Wilton. Route 7, Danbury Road, closed from Ridgefield Road to School Road. Pimpawog Road is also closed. I've seen some pictures from the site. A large dump truck with the bed in the upright position struck some high power lines, caught fire. Everything is closed there. Just stay away from Route 7 in that area near the Wilton High School, Cider Mill, all those schools there. Also on the roads, you've got some stuff is clearing up, like earlier delays in Fairfield on the Merritt Parkway by exit 44. You do have road work in Milford on 95 South, just prior to exit 38, which is the Milford connector. You've got road work in Greenwich on the Merritt Parkway north at exit 31. That is North Street. Road work in Fairfield, 95 north at exit 23. Some delays in Milford on 95 north. That's Marsh Hill Road. And those appear to be cleared. Taking a look outside, cloudy day. 64 right now outside our Shelton studio. Going to get up into the upper 60s. It's not supposed to reach 70 today. 20% chance of precipitation. Tonight, dropping into the upper 40s. Clear. Tomorrow, sunny. High in the upper 70s. Currently 64 in Shelton, 60 in Ridgefield, 61 in Fairfield. You're listening to and watching Coffee Break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HANradio.com, streaming on the HAN network.
Thanks, John. A Monroe man is facing charges after police said he issued a death threat to a Parks and Rec Department security guard during an after-school basketball game at Sandy Hook Elementary School, the Monroe Courier is reporting this morning. According to police, while the youth league games were taking place back in February, a security guard noticed a child bouncing a basketball off of a wall in one of the school's hallways. The guard told the youth to stop, and he was then confronted by a group of adults accompanying the child. Police said a verbal confrontation ensued, and one of the adults, later identified as Thomas Capella, who's 48 of Century Hill Road in Monroe, told the guard he did not know who he was dealing with and that he was, quote, dead. Police investigated and received a warrant for Coppola's arrest back, this was on May 4th of over the weekend, and he later turned himself in and was released on a promise to appear in court next week. Police noted the incident took place at nearly 9 p.m. after school hours and that students and staff were not affected. For more on this story, you can visit MonroeCourier.com. John?
Bridgeport never disappoints with politics, Josh.
That's one way. We might have different definitions of disappointment, but go ahead. It certainly is interesting.
Former Bridgeport Mayor Joe Ganim, who spent 7 years in prison for corruption, announced this morning that he will again seek Bridgeport's highest office. He has filed the necessary paperwork. He appeared on Chaz and AJ on 99.1 WPLR this morning. He will be seeking to unseat fellow Democrat Bill Finch, the incumbent. Finch also faces an in-party challenge from Bridgeport Bluefish founder Mary Jane Foster. Ganem served as mayor of Bridgeport from 1991 until 2003, when he was convicted of 16 counts of corruption for steering city contracts in exchange for money. He is apologizing to voters now about what he calls serious errors of judgment, his term, during his time in office. He also lost his law licenses. He was living in Easton. He's moved back to Bridgeport so he can go after this job. Formal launch is supposed to be May 14th.
Certainly something that'll be fun to watch.
That's going to be a great primary. That's a three-way primary with Ganem, Finch, and Foster.
Anything can happen in Bridgeport.
And I don't think there's any love lost among the three of them.
Oh, no. Oh, definitely
None.
not. Definitely
It'll be
not.
interesting.
Yes. Well, police say a 28-year-old Fairfield man allegedly tried to strangle his wife during an argument over cleaning their North Benson Road house on Sunday night. David Krulwich was charged with third-degree strangulation, disorderly conduct, and risk of injury to a minor after a confrontation the police said began when he asked his wife to help with the cleaning. The couple's 2 young children were home at the time of the incident, police said. The wife told police that she and her husband began arguing over cleaning the house for a child's party, and at one point he went to leave the garage. She put an arm out to stop him, and at that point she told police he threw her to the ground and began strangling her neck. Krulwich was held on a $25,000 bond and was scheduled to appear yesterday at State Superior Court in Bridgeport. John?
A Milford man, identified by Shelton police as a youth hockey coach, was charged Monday with stalking an 18-year-old waitress. 57-year-old Kim Laricchia was served with a warrant charging him with third-degree stalking, second-degree breach of peace, and interfering with an officer. His bond was $15,000 for court May 18th in Derby. On March 21st, according to the complaint, Laricchia entered a restaurant on River Road in Shelton, then obsessively, police word, watched an 18-year-old waitress for some 4 hours. At one point, Laricchia passed her a note asking if she wanted to go for a ride. He then followed her on River Road after she completed her shift. Laricchia fled the area after the female, alarmed because she noticed he was following her, called and met her boyfriend at a local parking lot. Laricchia, police said, returned to the River Road restaurant the next day and again continually watched the female. When he left, she was able to record his license plate and provided it to police. Shelton police detectives, during their investigation, discovered that Laricchia is a youth hockey coach in the area.
Wow. Also in Shelton today, or yesterday, John, a 22-year-old Stratford man was charged with a November robbery. Cyril Kelsaw, who Shelton police said was already incarcerated, was charged yesterday with first-degree robbery, conspiracy to commit first-degree robbery, first-degree strangulation, first-degree threatening, carrying a facsimile firearm, and sixth-degree larceny. It was on November 15th of last year that a 20-year-old man and a 21-year-old woman said they made arrangements to meet a friend in a rear parking lot of the Sports Center of Connecticut at 784 River Road. The man and woman said they were waiting in the car when the friend, later identified as Kelsaw, entered the backseat of the vehicle. The victims reported that Kelsaw then grabbed the man's head from behind, pulled a gun, and demanded their belongings. A second suspect, later identified as Dante Walker of Stratford, then approached the vehicle and took the female's purse and phone. Both suspects then tried to open the driver's door, but the male was able to slam the door and drive away. Walker was arrested last December 11th for his involvement. The Shelton Police Department detectives were able to recover both the vehicle and the gun used by the suspects. It was determined the gun was used in the robbery. The gun used in the robbery was a pellet gun. Coffee break time, 11:09, John.
Josh Ridgefield High School football coach Kevin Callahan has been charged with driving under the influence in his hometown of Fairfield. 52-year-old Callahan of Cherry Hill Road in Fairfield is also Dean of Students at Ridgefield High School and lead teacher in the Physical Education Department. He was charged with DUI, distracted driving, failure to drive right, and failure to carry a valid insurance card in connection with an accident Sunday night on Fairfield Woods Road, according to a report in the Fairfield Citizen. A Ridgefield school official confirmed to the Ridgefield Press that Callahan was the person arrested. The police report indicated Callahan was driving west on Fairfield Woods Road and after going through the Stilson Road intersection, hit a traffic sign in the center of the road and continued on, striking a tree on the side of the road. He allegedly told police he was looking at an incoming text message, according to the report in the Fairfield Citizen. Officers said they smelled a strong odor of alcoholic beverages and found a half-empty bottle of vodka in the car. Callahan was taken to the hospital with elevated blood pressure. Police said he refused to have blood drawn or have toxicology tests run. He was released on a promise to appear in court May 18th. The Ridgefield Press did leave a message at Callahan's Fairfield home seeking to talk to him about the case. A call was not returned. Ridgefield Superintendent of Schools Deborah Lowe said yesterday that she did not have enough information to comment on the situation. Coffee break time's 11:10.
A member of the University of Bridgeport women's soccer team faces charges after she allegedly attacked fellow members of her team in a drunken rage after she was passed over for an award. Daniel Pudafoot allegedly charged fellow player Haley Marquis for headbutting her in the face before police said she was restrained by other players. Pudafoot, who's 22 and of Slough, England, was charged with third-degree assault and disorderly conduct and was later released after posting a $1,000 bond. Police said several players told them they had been drinking on April 30th prior to the sports awards banquet at the university. During the banquet, Pudafoot reportedly began complaining that she was a senior and had not won any awards in her 4 years on the team. Police said Pudafoot, who other players described as being very drunk, left the banquet early. Other team members went to a dormitory room at Seeley Hall to continue the celebration. Sometime later, police said Pudafoot entered the room and began berating other players. She then headbutted the 18-year-old Marquis with such force that it knocked the girl over 2 chairs and onto the floor, police said. Pudafoot then began slamming her own head against the wooden wardrobe closets in the room. When another player tried to stop her, Pudafoot shoved that girl into the wall, police said. The other teammates managed to finally get Pudafoot into the hallway, where police said she then began slamming her head against doors and the concrete walls until she passed out. Police said Marquis, who had significant swelling on the right side of her face, along with 2 black eyes, was taken to St. Vincent's Medical Center for treatment. And she's from Slough, England. That's where the original Office took place. BBC, yeah.
I did not know that.
Which is probably a better show than that incident was
Generally
at the University of Bridgeport.
Yeah, well. Go Knights.
Right. So let's hope things are going better on the roads for our commuters today.
No updates from Wilton, where a dump truck hit high-tension power lines and caught fire. As a result, Route 7 is closed from Ridgefield Road to School Road. Pimpawog Road also closed. This is right by where you head up to Ridgefield. It's right by Wilton High School, cider mill, the whole complex there. No indication as to when that might open. We also have road work in Milford, 95 South, just before exit 38, which is the Milford connector. Road work in Greenwich on the Merritt North at exit 31, that's North Street. And road work on the Milford connector itself, just beyond exit 2. Looking outside, it's cloudy, it's gray, it's spring-like, though. It's got that spring cloudiness to it.
Yeah, it's not that cold rain that we've had last month. It's,
right.
And if it's going to be sunny the rest of the week after this, we'll take this, right?
It's supposed to be. Today, 64 now, getting up to 69. Tonight, it'll drop into the upper 40s, but clear up. Tomorrow, sunny, high 70s. Currently, 64 in Shelton, 64 in Derby, 64 in Ansonia, 63 in Orange, 61 in Ridgefield, and 61 in Fairfield. We're going to step out, talk to our sponsors for a little bit, and when we come back, we'll look back in history and we'll look at what happened on the field yesterday.
Your child has fallen and broken his arm. You need to see an orthopedist fast. Think Coastal Ortho Express in Norwalk. Don't wait hours in the ER. Save a trip and money by going straight to an orthopedic specialist at Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care in Norwalk. No appointment necessary. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, 203-845-2070. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or call 203-845-2070. Fast.
Spring is finally in the air and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Alliance. We are an industry leader in coordinating transportation for large events such as corporate road shows, conferences, and special events. Our team of experts understands the dynamics and logistics of high-pressure situations and complex arrangements, all within a rapidly changing environment. Since 1999, we have added charter jets, event management, and personal protection to our range of services. Mention this ad for $25 off your next round-trip reservation. Alliance and you. Together, we can achieve the extraordinary. 855-546-6996 or alliancelimo.com.
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to your coffee break presented by Stratford Orthodontics on HANradio.com, streaming live on the HAN network. John Kovach, joined today by Josh Fisher as Kate Czaplinski celebrates Ces de Mayo.
Yes.
You're not observing the extended Cinco de Mayo today?
I am not, but I am observing it's National Nurses Day, being married to one.
Yes. Oh, it's a big day.
It is a big day in the Eng household. So, yeah, that's my plan.
I'm glad we did acknowledge that, too, because nurses do so much. I really am glad that we did acknowledge that. Thank you for that.
Me too.
Yeah. Save you a little bit.
I was going to say, speaking of history.
Speaking of history.
I very nearly was there. And sometimes even I learn things about history today, which we'll get to at the end here, as Rob Adams with a bit of adding a bit here. But first off, we start in 1527. Spanish and German troops sacked the city of Rome. An estimated 20,000 attackers make their way to St. Peter's Basilica, where they are met by 189 of Pope Clement VII's Swiss Guard. In the ensuing fight, 147 of the Guard would fall, but Clement was able to escape to Castel Sant'Angelo. By the way, do not be fooled by their fancy ceremonial uniforms. These guys remain some of the best trained, best equipped soldiers in the world today. 1877. Chief Crazy Horse of the Ogallala Sioux surrenders to American troops in Nebraska. He was bayoneted to death in captivity in September of that same year. 1889, the Eiffel Tower opened to the public at the Universal Exposition in Paris. It was erected as the entrance arch to the expo. Initially criticized by some of the leading artists for the design, it has become a global cultural icon of France, visited by an estimated 7 million people every year. 1954, a big day in track and field. Roger Bannister, the first person to run the mile in under 4 minutes. It's amazing how human performance increases. The top high school runners do that now.
They did not think it was physically possible at the time. They thought if you tried to do it and got close enough that it would kill you.
That you would die. And there's a certain symmetry to it because it is 4 laps of a standard track, 4 laps, 4 minutes. It was a goal for a good decade that people were trying to do it. 1994, former Arkansas State worker Paula Jones files a lawsuit against the U.S. President Bill Clinton, alleging he had sexually harassed her in 1993. And finally, in 1937, Lakehurst, New Jersey, there was this.
Starting to rain again. The rain had slacked up a little bit. The back motors of the ship are just holding it just enough to keep it from... It bursts into flames. Get it started. It's crashing terrible. Oh my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames and it's falling on the mooring mast and all the folks between it. This is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, it's like 400 or 500 feet into the sky. It's a terrific crash, ladies and gentlemen. The smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the passengers screaming around it. I can't talk to people. There's friends around there. I can't talk, ladies and gentlemen. Honest, it's just laying there a massive smoking wreckage. And everybody can't hardly breathe and talk and screaming. Lady, I'm sorry. Honestly, I can hardly breathe. I'm going to step inside where I cannot see it. Charlie, that's terrible. Listen, folks, I'm going to have to stop for a minute because I've lost the voice. This is the worst thing I've ever witnessed.
Of course, the Hindenburg disaster, the German Zeppelin Hindenburg, catches fire and is completely destroyed within less than a minute while attempting to dock at Lakehurst, New Jersey. 36 people killed in the disaster.
Now, that was an important moment in the reporting of news because, first of all, that was all on tape. Morrison and an engineer went to Lakehurst. Morrison was actually based out of NBC in Chicago. They get the audio back to Chicago. They're put on lacquer discs, basically what you would think of as a record, more or less. And it turns out that was not Herbert Morrison's real speaking voice. That's it sped up because of the processing of the recording of those lacquer discs. And through the beauty of technology, give a listen to this.
Just holding it just enough to keep it from burst into flames. Get it started. It's crashing terrible. Oh my, get out of the way, please. It's bursting into flames and it's falling on the mooring mast and all the folks between it. This is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes.
That's his real voice.
First I've ever heard that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, wow, that's really cool.
Isn't that fascinating?
And I'm assuming Johnny is the producer that he was with. He said, "Get it, Johnny, get it, Johnny." He's referring to the phone.
The guy rolling the camera.
Yeah, and there's more to the audio than that. Eventually, as you hear him say he's going to stop talking, step inside because of the smoke and everything, he does regroup, he comes back, he records more, and then eventually they run that later on NBC. Of course, it didn't run live 1937. We weren't there yet technology-wise, but it's absolutely stunning audio. You can almost feel there's certain moments in what we do that are like the dawn of certain things. This is one of them. JFK would be another. They're just moments that are real, highlights for what we do.
Sure. And it's also the sunset of the airship as a means of transportation for all intents and purposes.
Right, and those things, those airships were like cruise ships that flew.
Oh, that was
to cross the ocean in 4 days was in amazing comfort. With like the white china and tablecloths. It was and much like the Titanic and the it was kind of the beginning of the end of the ocean liners. The Hindenburg disaster, the beginning of the end of airship travel.
Yeah,
remarkable day in history. All right, that's it. I'm still Donald Eng.
That's good to hear.
You didn't turn into Kate all of a sudden. Seis de Mayo. For the radio listener, Don just feigned a selfie. Well done, Donald. And I'll just take it and run with it, guys. Good morning, everyone, as we jump into sports because we got a busy day, 11:23 already, so I'll try to run through this quickly. Darien beat St. Joe's in boys lacrosse 20-4. Colin Minikis, Christian Trafone, Kevin Lindley combined for a total of 10 goals, 6 assists to help the Blue Wave take a 14-0 halftime lead. Remember, St. Joe's won the state title last year. New Canaan beat Joel Barlow 17-5 as we get some audio courtesy of Rocco Veluzzo. This is their head coach, John Dissler.
Our defense was non-existent. Our defense did not show up to play. Some of the guys I've been counting on just did not play well today.
And to be clear, that is Joel Barlow head coach John Dissler. Wilton High's, the boys lacrosse team, made quick work of Trinity Catholic on Tuesday evening, 17-3 at Fujitani Field. John Jay boys lacrosse jumped out to a 9-0 halftime lead. They cruised from there, 14-3 win at Somers. The Indians improved to 8-6 on the with the win on the year. Ryan Lee had 4 goals, 2 assists, and an assist to lead the scoring. Jake Loeb scored 3 times. Hunter Keach, Danny Skluth, Johnny Cola, and Thor Adamak also scored. I just wanted to say Thor Adamak in the worst way. The New Canaan Rams girls lacrosse team rebounded from its loss to the Yorktown Huskers with a 14-4 shellacking of the Staples Wreckers Tuesday night at Dunning Field. New Canaan now 9-2 on the year. They remained unbeaten in the FCAC at 7-0, heading into Thursday's big showdown against the Darien Blue Wave at Dunning Field. To girls track and field, it was all Darien 93-52 at Wilton. For the first of the postseason honors on May 4th, Anna Solger won 3 events. Girls golf, Manel High defeated Stratford High 235-291 at Oronoque. Melanie Russell earned medalist honors for the Lady Bulldogs with a 45. Girls tennis, Christian Heritage School of Trumbull, their varsity team is 7-0. They defeated league stalwart Watkinson School for the second time in 3 days. New Canaan had a battle with rival Wilton on Tuesday, couldn't overcome a strong Warrior squad, and they fell 5-2. Match was a close one, though. New Canaan did take 1 point in singles and doubles. We move over to softball. Christian Heritage defeated Harvey 15-0 on senior night. Before the game, CHS honored senior outfielder Georgina Santosh and senior first baseman and captain Michaela Corman. Both girls had 2 hits. CHS won their 3rd straight game to improve to 3-2. A quick look around at sports on this Wednesday morning, and with sports, I'm Rob Adams. Coffee break time, 11:26, gentlemen.
Thank you, Rob.
Go ahead, Josh.
Let's take a quick look at the weather and the roads before we go to break, and then talk about some more transportation with our guests today.
From the Wilton Bulletin, it is estimated that it will be 1 p.m. before Route 7 is reopened. They have pictures up of what's happening there. A truck delivering mulch. They had the back of the truck up. It came into contact with the power lines. It obviously became a large conductor and set fire to the back of the truck. So you have power lines compromised, you have a fire, that all being dealt with in Wilton. 1 o'clock before the road is reopened. Earlier road work in Greenwich at exit 31, that's North Street, has been cleared, as have earlier delays in Fairfield. The road work on the Milford connector also cleared. You do have road work in Milford, 95 South, near exit 38, which does put you on the connector. Right now, cloudy outside. It's going to stay cloudy all day. It's going to hover around where we are right now. 64 in Shelton, 61 in Ridgefield, 64 throughout the valley, 61 in Fairfield. Clears up tonight, drops down into the upper 40s. Tomorrow, the sun comes back. It sticks around. It'll be almost 80 tomorrow. When we come back, Josh, we'll be talking transportation.
Yes, with Jim Cameron and a new weekly feature.
Yes. You're listening to Coffee Break on HANradio.com or watching it stream on the HAN network.
It's Characters, specializing in children's birthday parties with your child's favorite characters. When you want to party hardy, when you need to celebrate, call us, we won't be late. We help create lasting memories for you and your child on their special day. Call us at 203-590-1791 or visit our website at lotsofcharacters.org for more information and to see our party packages. Lots of Characters, 203-590-1791 or online at lotsofcharacters.org.
Located in the heart of picturesque downtown Ridgefield at 13 Governor Street, Colby's is the area's premier retailer for blinds, shades, shutters, and draperies, and is one of the select few Hunter Douglas Gallery dealers. A family-owned and operated company, Colby's experienced staff will work with you in choosing the best treatments for your home or office and offer free measuring and expert installation. Colby's also carries an extensive line of decorative fabrics including Schumacher, Durley, Tebow, and more. Or browse over 400 books in our wallpaper library from famous designers such as Stroheim, Schumacher, Ralph Lauren, Tebow, and York. Take advantage of our Fashion in Motion savings event with savings and rebates on Hunter Douglas shades with Power Rise technology. Colby's of Ridgefield. We are committed to your complete satisfaction. 203-438-8531.
Spring is finally in the air and our favorite season is upon us. The Dock Shop is all geared up with a great selection of fishing tackle, custom fishing rods, and all the latest accessories to replenish your tackle box. The Dock Shop has also just brought out the newest spring fashion apparel from Montauk Tackle, Altered Latitudes, Kaylee Smith, and Margaritaville Apparel. Need some new foul weather gear for those chilly spring mornings? The Dock Shop is loaded up with Grundens and Stormer in a variety of styles and sizes. Ladies, we've got you covered as well with spring apparel and the newest designs of coastal jewelry, bags, and accessories. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, Connecticut. Visit us at dockshop.com.
It's easy to advertise on HANradio.com, reach 263,000 listeners each month with our sports programming and talk programming. Call Mary Ann Hersam at 203-417-5199.
You're listening to Hersam Acorn Radio.
Welcome back to Coffee Break on HANradio.com and streaming live on the Hersam Acorn Network. You can watch us at HANradio.com/livestream along with John Kovach and Rob Adams. I'm Josh Fisher. And this is an exciting day because we have a new segment that's debuting. And our longtime columnist for Hersam Acorn newspapers, and he's been writing the column longer than the near decade he's been with us, Jim Cameron, I'd say the biggest voice for Connecticut commuters, is joining HAN Radio and the Hersam Acorn Network this week with a weekly commentary, and let's get to that right now.
There is no question that Governor Malloy's proposed $100 billion transportation plan for our state is, as he puts it, bold. The question is it achievable and affordable? I'm Jim Cameron, and this is Talking Transportation. Commentary and analysis on getting around in Connecticut. When you ask the governor which projects on his wish list are most important and should be prioritized, he insists it's, quote, all of them. Really? Is turning little Oxford Airport into an international terminal just 58 miles from Bradley as important as fixing Metro North? Can we really spend $780 million on bike and pedestrian thoroughfares when we don't have enough money to repair crucial bridges on the New Haven line? And is spending $1.6 billion to widen I-95 from Stamford to the New York State line even necessary? The problem is the governor's plan is not a plan. It's a wish list with something for everyone in the state. His plan is of unknown origin. Nobody has vetted these projects to say which make sense and which don't. Nor has the governor offered any ideas on how to pay for them. Instead, he's created a panel of experts tasked with coming up with those answers by the end of this summer. An unenviable job indeed. My father taught me there's no such thing as a free lunch, and there is no way to pay for any of these projects without significant pain. A $100 billion plan would cost each man, woman, and child in this state $27,800 to pay for it. Even spread over 50 years, that's $556 per person per year. Are you in on that? Even the governor admits that highway tolls would not be enough, covering only 1/3 of the total cost. And we know how popular tolling is. So where else do we get the money? Well, among the alternatives, a sales tax increase, higher gasoline taxes, and real estate transfer fees. Anything on that list to your liking so far? How about privatization? In effect, selling off state-owned roads and bridges to private companies, allowing them to charge whatever they'd like to use them. It is just not by chance that this alternative is being floated by former Malloy campaign manager and top aide Roy Occhiogrosso, who just happens to now be working for a company, HNTB Corporation, that specializes in such deals. What does Mr. Occhiogrosso know about the governor's plans that we don't, but should? Privatization's been tried before. In 2006, cash-strapped Indiana sold its 50-year-old east-west toll road, known as the Main Street of the Midwest, to an Australian-Spanish conglomerate, netting the state $3.8 billion in return for the right to operate that crucial highway for 75 years. P.S. Goldman Sachs earned a reported $200 million just for brokering the deal. But in the first year of operations of that road, tolls almost doubled. Are you surprised? Let's face it, Governor Malloy is very shrewd. He gets to look like Santa Claus, doling out transportation goodies across the state, but will be able to blame his financing strategy team for assigning the costs. This entire debate warrants very close scrutiny, because whatever its outcome, we will all be paying for it for many, many years. This is Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation.
And we're back with the man behind the voice. There, Jim Cameron, welcome. Your first time in studio with us.
Beautiful.
Here.
I'm really impressed. This is quite a setup you got here.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us this segment. We've heard at least the first four. That was that we were going to do.
Yeah.
And and you have a long history in broadcasting.
I do.
Also,
I worked at NBC News. Came out of a radio background. And you're the guy that's actually responsible for Talking Transportation, because when you were at the Darien Times, you persuaded me to stop writing letters to the editor and instead turn it into a column, and that was twice a month, 10 years now we've been doing it.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun to work with you, and I learned so much from your columns every other week that we run on our website and in print, and I've always found it interesting. Whether I've taken the trains to work, I've driven to work, it's fun. Connecticut is an interesting place. Not always an easy place to get around, but an interesting place. Where did you get this passion for transportation?
Well, I'm something of a rail nut. I've always been interested in trains. Went to Lehigh University to become a civil engineer to design the trains of the future. That folly ended freshman year when I discovered you actually had to know calculus and chemistry. So I got involved with the campus radio station, and that was really what launched a broadcasting career. But I've always been interested in transportation. When my wife and I moved up from the city, we chose Darien as a place to live because of the proximity of good train service. And the longer I've lived here, it's been like 23, 24 years now, the more I've realized how important transportation is in all kinds of issues: economic development, affordable housing. I mean, the reason that we have traffic jams on I-95 every morning as people head down toward lower Fairfield County is that they can't afford to live in the cities where they work.
Right.
I was talking with a nurse the other day who lives in Bridgeport and works in Stamford. She leaves her house every morning at 7 in the morning and doesn't get to work until 8:30. Bumper-to-bumper traffic every day. And I said, well, why don't you take the train? I mean, you're not that far from the train station. Oh, I can't find parking, and I don't know how to get a bus from the train station. I mean, there are so many aspects of our lives that are touched by transportation, the lack of affordable, dependable service. People have to go to meetings. They leave an extra half hour early just in case there's going to be traffic. All the apps, Waze, Google Maps have really capitalized, I think, on people's paranoia about getting from point A to point B in this state with any kind of guarantee of getting there on time.
Well, I think the scheduling is also a function that there just aren't, that there isn't the kind of service that people who have jobs where they're doing the commute from, say, the Valley or Bridgeport or Stamford is.
Well, I mean, the train service is definitely oriented toward getting people in and out of New York City.
Correct.
intrastate is kind of a secondary thought. And if you're really dedicated, you may have to take a couple trains, switch in Norwalk or switch in Stamford or something. So the dream, and as you know, I was involved with the Metro North Commuter Council for 19 years, formed a new group called the Commuter Action Group. Our goal has always been to try and improve train service so you don't need a timetable. Make it more like a subway where you just go down to the station and there'll be a train in the next 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
We can dream. We can all dream. But as that piece illustrated, be careful what you wish for, because the governor has certainly embraced transportation as his issue this year, but it's coming with $100 billion price tag, which someone's going to have to pay. I mean, and as the piece illustrated, most of the alternatives that are being talked about now, gas tax increase, tolls on the highways, none of those are popular. I mean, we're not going to come up with that kind of money without somebody feeling the pain.
Right, but also not popular is after the fact if we have a major problem. We've had some problems on the rails.
Yeah.
It was almost 30 years ago, or about 30 years ago now, the Miamis Bridge collapsed.
Exactly.
But the White House released a study last year that rated Connecticut's roads among the worst in the nation. So how soon or how far away do you think the next accident is if we don't act?
Well, I mean, the Walk Bridge in Norwalk was stuck in an open position. They went screaming to the federal government and got $165 million in Sandy relief, believe it or not. There's nothing to do with Sandy and that bridge.
I was trying to figure that one out myself.
Well,
near water.
We're lucky to have, Democrats in the State House and in Washington. I doubt we would have got that money if we'd had a Republican governor. But that's just one of 4 bridges. The Regional Planning Association, a really prestigious group that's been around since the 1920s, they estimate that we need $3.6 billion just to get Metro North in a state of good repair. And we can't come up with that, let alone the $100 billion that the governor's talking about for any myriad number of projects.
Right. Rob Adams has a question.
Jim, I'm a big roads guy, always have been my whole life, fascinated by them. And Connecticut just seems like we're the home office for unfinished projects, from Super 7 up to the combo of 9 and 84 up near New Britain. I mean, what do we obviously need more roads. I mean, but I also know you're a big train guy as well, so I'm trying to balance between the two. I guess that's kind of my question.
Well, I'm certainly a train guy, but I'm also in strong support of more roads, because we're not living in the city. We don't have the density that would support mass transit getting us from point A to point B. We still need roads. This is a suburban-based state in which we live, and you're not going to be able to get a train from Bridgeport to Waterbury anytime in my lifetime. So we certainly need to invest in the roads. And as Rob points out, these roads are always under repair. I mean, I've never seen 95 finished. And now for the governor to suggest that we should be widening that highway is going to mean hundreds of millions of dollars, many more years of construction and disruption as well, too. I take his point that we have neglected the transportation infrastructure for so many decades that we've got to do something. But I'm going to make a prediction. This panel that he's created to do the dirty job of finding the money is going to come back and say, we can find the money, but it's going to be so politically unpopular that we can't really afford the $100 billion that he's been suggesting. Let's come up with at least some priorities of what needs to be fixed first.
Right. Interesting. So what are some of the other topics that we can expect to hear on Wednesdays from you?
Well, I try to write not only about the rails and the roads, but all kinds of different aspects of transportation. I've written a lot about airlines because a lot of the your viewers and listeners travel. They go to Bradley or LaGuardia, and for business reasons have to travel, and that's changed into a very unpleasant experience of late. I've written about how our speed limits are set. Who is it that requires the interstate highways to have speed limits, and how they're set. Even written about cruise ships as well too. So any aspect of transportation.
Anyway, from getting here to there.
And I would really welcome your readers, viewers, listeners, if they have ideas for columns, to by all means let me know.
Okay.
My email contacts in the website version, in the newspaper version as well too.
Right.
And I'm always open to suggestion. I'm looking for new ideas.
That's great. And you can also contact you on Twitter, right? Is it CT Rail?
CT Rail Commuters.
CT Rail Commuters, and on Facebook, Commuter Action Group.
Exactly.
Right? Facebook.com/Commuter Action Group. We have a story up on HANradio.com that has all that information on it. And Jim, thanks a lot. We're really excited for this partnership.
I am so pleased to be bringing Talking Transportation to the airwaves and the video as well too. So
happy
thanks
to
for
have
having
it. Great
That's
stuff.
Great.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Switching gears, Mother's Day is coming up, and we're going to be joined by phone right now by Stephanie Norton and Kim Athen or Athen. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. They are the among the 4 co-founders of the Mother's Day movement. They're from Greenwich. Thanks for joining us on Coffee Break.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for having us.
So, tell us about the Mother's Day movement. I'm looking at your website, and I see you're doing a lot to help mothers around the country, or around the world, actually, overcome some challenges. Tell us about the movement.
So Mother's Day movement was started 5 years ago. We were inspired by Nicholas Kristof's book, Half the Sky, and decided that we had heard Nick had written that $14 billion was spent in the U.S. alone on gifts and flowers, and that number is now up to $18 billion. And we thought maybe we could help redirect some of that money to help mothers around the world.
And there are examples at mothersdaymovement.org, and we have some pictures from some of the prior projects. Tell us some of what you've done through the Mother's Day movement.
Our first campaign was Shining Hope for Communities out of Kibera in Kenya. And we were lucky enough to get involved with them when they were just at the beginning phases, and we helped build 13 classrooms there for them. And they have just blossomed and expanding all the time, and they've gotten coverage in Mr. Kristof's documentary as well as his book. And Chelsea Clinton has been there to visit, so that really just took off. That was our first beneficiary, and after that we've tried to move around and choose different areas of the world as well as different organizations that highlight different things. We've done maternal mortality. We've looked at clean water and helped build wells, fistulas, and this year we're doing Free the Slaves, which is a huge issue facing our world today.
And tell us how the Free the Slaves movement is going to work.
So what's happening is that we've chosen to look at an ashram in India that helps women and girls who have been kidnapped and they're recovering and been found and brought back into their country and made whole again because they've been so abused and taken advantage of. And so the ashram that we're focusing on helps them do that, helps them just get back reintroduced into their life.
And the organization Free the Slaves also works in 5 other countries in addition to India, including Nepal, and they're very active right now in the earthquake relief in Nepal in terms of following a tragedy such like the earthquake. People are very susceptible to having bad things happen to them. Opportunities, saying there's jobs in other places, and women and children are taken away and sometimes never return. So they're doing a lot to prevent the trafficking that can occur after disaster.
So how do you find
and the ashram that we've... Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, the ashram that we're focusing on actually was hit by a cyclone recently as well, and they lost one of their foundation walls that keeps the women and children safe. So we're hoping to rebuild that wall with part of our donations.
How do you find the organizations that you dedicate a year to?
So we do a big search, and then we narrow it down. Sometimes we try to focus on what we haven't looked at. So one year we looked at building a school, another year water. We try to hit different areas that might need attention and for the public to be educated. So we do a big search, and then we narrow it down to make sure that it fits our criteria, and then get more involved with a few different charities, seeing if it'll work with us.
And we look at the financials of the charities, their the level of administrative costs, that they have, all the due diligence in looking at the charities. And one of the main things that we want to point out is that the Mother's Day movement does not take any money. The money goes directly, our donors donate directly to the charity. We are a marketing idea. We are a movement of people trying to make the world a better place.
Is there a group that meets to make the decisions as to, well, what charities support? I mean, these are all tremendously important initiatives around the world that really could use the money. And I love the idea of really your mother's setting an example by giving it forward, giving what's earmarked for a gift for you to somebody who really needs something more. Do you have meetings?
We do. We meet several times a year. We're all very close, and we get together. We discuss what we want for that year and what beneficiary we want to focus on. A lot of it is about educating the public. It doesn't, we want people to know that they can make a difference in a very small amount. Small amount of money can make a huge difference, and I think that people don't realize what an impact they can have.
And tell our listeners again how they can donate and help the Mother's Day movement make Mother's Day meaningful and this year work to free the slaves.
So all they need to do is go to mothersdaymovement.org, and they can read about us and the different charities that we've highlighted, as well as our charity for this year. And when they go to the donate page, it will take them directly to the charity that we are focusing on. So this year it's Free the Slaves, and they will donate directly to them.
And they are based out of Washington, D.C. They're a 501c3 organization, and they can read about their financials and things if they want to learn more about them before doing so. But they are a wonderful organization doing amazing work in 6 countries in the world.
Stephanie Norton and Kim Athen. Am I pronouncing that right? Because I didn't hear you when you...
Okay, it's Athen.
Athen.
That's fine.
There we go. Now I've got it right. So I want to send it out right at least. Kim Athen, the co-founders of the Mother's Day movement. They're seeking to make Mother's Day meaningful by having donations go to people in the third world who need help. This year it's Free the Slaves. Good luck with this. Thank you so much for coming on, and please keep us posted on your efforts so we can help get the word out about the Mother's Day movement.
John, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, and happy Mother's Day to all of you out there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on Coffee Break, presented by Stratford Orthodontics, HAN Radio, streaming on the HAN network. Let's step out, take a quick break, come back, and we'll update you on the traffic situation in Wilton and some of the other news of the day.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332. And online at stratfordsmile.com.
Did you know that taking dance lessons is a great date night idea? Arthur Murray Grand Ballroom of Greenwich is a fabulous place to learn to dance and meet new people. Located at 6 Lewis Street, our studio is staffed with professional instructors, ready to teach you salsa, waltz, rumba, hustle, tango. There's a dance for every season. And we are rated #1 on the Knot.com. We are the wedding dance specialists. Take advantage of our new student offer, only $49. Call 203-769-1800. Visit us online at arthurmurraygreenwich.com.
This year, 3,000 Connecticut women will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Hersam Acorn is a proud sponsor of the Komen Connecticut Race for the Cure. Help make an impact in the local fight against breast cancer by joining us on May 9th in Westport at Sherwood Island. With your help, Komen Connecticut invests in local breast cancer programs, helping local women beat breast cancer. Visit KomenCT.org to register, volunteer, or donate today. We race for Connecticut. Why will you race?
Hersam Acorn and HANradio.com.
Welcome back to Coffee Break on HANradio.com and streaming live video on the Hersam Acorn Network. John, any update on that terrible accident in Wilton on 7 this morning?
No word on injuries there. I don't believe there were any. Dump truck delivering mulch was moving with the bed in the upright position. It hung up in power lines. As you can see, given the photo, if you're watching the stream on the HAN network, it did complete the circuit and set the back of the truck on fire in the mulch pile. Wilton Fire is on the scene. The road's been closed for several hours now, coming up on 3 hours. The latest update to the Wilton Bulletin is 1 o'clock that Route 7 would reopen. If it opens much later than that, you have Wilton High School is right there, about to let out. So it could be a traffic mess more so than it is. Closed right now from Ridgefield Road to School Road. Pimpawog Road also closed. That in Wilton. Up on the highways, we have work in Stamford now on Route 15 South. That's at exit 34. The earlier work in Greenwich has cleared, and much of the other work is cleared, though we still have work in Milford 95 South. About a quarter mile before exit 38, which puts you on the Milford Parkway, which connects you to the Wilbur Cross Merritt Parkway. A cloudy day outside our Shelton studio, as we can see through these nice big bay windows that we have in our new setup.
Beautiful.
64 right now. It's only going to get up to 69. It won't reach 70. Humidity is 42%. Not much wind at all. Cloudy all day, but only a 20% chance of precipitation. Dropping down into the high 40s tonight, but clearing up. Tomorrow sunny in the high 80s. We are under a pollen alert today. No surprise to anybody.
Oh my God!
There.
So I was playing tennis yesterday in Newtown, and there was so much pollen on the court you could see the shots. So we had we didn't have to argue over whether something was in or out.
Makes the line calls easy.
It was like playing on clay.
Might be on something. Do you have the review thing and the people clap
we
and
didn't
zoom
need it.
in on
was,
the dust?
It was like the French Open. You know, they don't use the whatever it's called, the Hawkeye or whatever it is. So it was actually kind of neat. And then this morning in the car too. I had to use the windshield washer this morning. Well, moving down to New Canaan, where the Board of Education voted unanimously on Tuesday to recommend that the town that it expand and renovate Sachs Middle School with a 22,000 square foot, 13-room addition, and fully renovate the auditorium, renovate the music and performing arts classrooms, and add 3,300 square feet for the music and performing arts. Estimated price of this, $16.8 million. The town-appointed Sachs Building Committee will request from the Board of Finance tonight for $750,000 for pre-development costs for expanding Sachs. The Board of Finance meeting is at 7:30 at the New Canaan Nature Center. I guess they haven't moved it back to Town Hall in New Canaan yet.
Funny you should ask. They have moved some departments back into the newly renovated and expanded New Canaan Town Hall. As of this morning, workers are still on site completing the job. The town clerk, tax collector, tax assessor, and public works departments all scheduled to open their new offices this morning on Town Hall and Main Street. Parking enforcement set to be open for business. It has new space in the police department building on South Avenue. The First Selectman's office, Human Resources, and Finance departments all remaining at police headquarters until the second floor space at Town Hall is ready in late June. New Canaan's land use departments, building, planning, and zoning will remain at their temporary space in Irwin Park until their busiest time of the year passes. In the fall, when construction slows down, they'll move them back. That actually makes a lot of sense.
It does. You know, I was editor of the New Canaan Advertiser for over 2 years, and I was there for about 3 weeks while Town Hall was open. They closed it about right after I started, and I couldn't wait to check out the new one, and I came up here about 3 months ago.
I did the Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
Right.
And I did... a few months in the old building, and then was in the second floor at the police station, which is kind of the catch-all space.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know, I think I rode maybe 2 or 3 shifts in the new building.
Before we go today, we have some news from Easton, Reading, and Region 9. Easton taxpayers voted soundly in favor of the $42.9 million town and Region 9 school budgets at Tuesday's referendum, with 66% of voters giving both budgets a thumbs up. The budget includes $15.6 million for the Easton Board of Education and $10.8 for Easton's share of the Region 9 school, Board of Education. Region 9, of course, serves Joe Barlow High School, which serves Reading and Easton. It represents an increase of 1.61% over the current budget. Easton and Reading share the cost of the regional high school, and voters in Reading, they approved the $47.8 million town budget for 2015 to 16. That passed 980 to 589 at Tuesday's referendum. The capital projects were also on the ballot in Reading. The school capital project for Reading Elementary School and John Reed Middle School passed 1136 to 431, and the allocation of $123 for a public safety communications tower in Reading was approved 870 to 681. Two capital projects were voted down on Tuesday, though. Converting the grass field at Reading Community Center to artificial turf was turned down for a second time by taxpayers, 517 to 1050. And the shelter pavilion at Reading Community Center was voted down 674 for yes, 885 no. I got to say, the more times we could vote down artificial turf in Connecticut, the better.
Everybody's going to it. Speaking of playing fields, Rob Adams, what's coming up on Nutmeg Sports at 2?
We've got a busy show today as we continue to talk about the mess that is the FCAC football situation with the schedule. There was, of course, the highly publicized and yet secret meeting last night, so we'll talk about that. We will talk about the situation with Kevin Callahan, the head football coach up in Ridgefield, and a couple of guests for you. Jeff Babineau, the head softball coach at St. Joe's, and Carrie Nadell, the head softball coach at Trumbull. We will have Trumbull and St. Joe's on Friday right here on HANradio.com. So that will be our softball game coming up Friday.
Thanks, Rob. That's going to do it for a Says de Mayo edition of your coffee break on HANradio.com, streaming on the HAN network. Again, 2 o'clock, come back on. Rob Adams with Nutmeg Sports. Thanks for listening.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Hersam, Acorn, and HANradio.com. The leader in local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut.
Want to get in touch with HAN Radio? You can find us on Twitter at Hersam Radio, on Facebook at Hersam Acorn Radio, or email us at radio@hersamacorn.com.